they tampering with the
Mama
funds.
love.
And what do you mean by that? When the young man said they're taking on
You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed.
well, you closed down that fire station because you didn't want to pay overtime. That's a real question. And then the problem becomes what overtime and our safety. Those should never be put in the same bed. Overtime, you pay the overtime.
Help me and the viewers understand again, a recap. You said overtime, which is as in they don't want to pay overtime, which caused them not to do what?
Which caused them not to be able to staff the fire station and then close it down for the night, which means that if you were in that area that fire station was closed down on, that means when you called for response, that fire department, now each fire station is set to be able to respond to the citizens in that area within a certain amount of time. If you don't respond, if one of those is shut down, now you got to wait for the fire department from the next department, the next area. So that's just going to elongate the time by anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 minutes. Now you have to realize some of these fire trucks are ambulatory fire trucks. So they're coming to give medical aid before ambulance can get there. So when you now have this type of timing added to these things, you're literally talking life and death. And then again, we're not talking about somebody that doesn't like a fire chief. We're talking about first, we dug into is the experience there. Former Chief Owens came on. You make the decision for yourself. You know one thing about Make It Make Sense, Jackson, if you're new to us, we don't want to tell you who to follow, who to vote for, what to think. We just want to make sure you have the clear and truthful information so you can make an educated choice. That benefits all of us here in Jackson. When you, I, KP, when everyone makes an educated choice, it makes it much better. Had we made an educated choice this past June, July, excuse me, we wouldn't have Mayor Horn and this current administration in office. Some of you all are happy, a small minority, I'm sure, because you're gaining the same type of preferential treatment that downtown Jackson partners and all of the white contractors that you see bleeding the city dry of all of its money, all of a sudden are getting, right? But for the masses, or the rest of us, as we like to say in Jackson, we've realized that a big mistake was made during this previous election. And that mistake was not voting for whoever was up. It was not voting for a specific person. It was not watching the writing on the wall, then the little writing in the newspaper, the Northside Sun, begging their constituents to vote for John Horn because they saw something out in the distance that others beside the young man, perhaps and myself, didn't see. But if you're not in that little bucket, at North Jackson, and I wouldn't even say Fonda because folks in Fonda don't all like it, but that North Jackson bucket, then you're not benefiting the same way everyone else is benefiting. So, I think that we have to recognize that mistake that was made at that point. The mistake was we didn't pay attention to an election. We let it be about a person and not about what we know of people. And we let somebody that's been in this political arena for 30 years with the same track record now move in the lead charge of our city. And now, no matter where you stand, no matter who you like, no matter who you sit with, you watch your airport just gone, the land around it. Now, when you go down there, now you see it being developed. You see things happening, and you see the airport board of Jackson boasting about all these changes being made.
They use words like annexed.
Yes. I hope and pray that you don't have the Jackson City's airport, with your taxes are paying to run their website when they post. Well, let's hope and pray they're not posting about gains that Rankin County, Pearl, or Flowood is actually getting the money from. Because we know that land around there is now being incorporated by all these other cities. And Jackson is not in any position because we're in debt, remember? That's why we did the Water Authority bill, according to our Mayor Horn. He said this Water Authority bill is going to allow us to shift that debt and maybe put us in a position where we can develop some of our own land.
Yeah.
And then what happened? We'll get into that deeper. But that's the overall situation. It's hard to start without starting in it. It's hard to touch on it without going into it because when I'm talking about the airport, that land being given away for development, and Jackson getting absolutely nothing for it.
I mean, that's one of the main categories in this situation. You know what I'm saying? It's just we focusing on stuff that's happening prior, you know what I'm saying, that happened recently. But,
Yeah.
as we touch on multiple stuff, we're going to eventually run back into the airport because something else might happen.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
That's right.
So it's good to keep it's good to keep them updated on what happened already.
Yes.
So when the next thing happens, it's like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying?
We understand it a lot better.
Yeah.
Because this was writing on the wall. This is the situation, folks. And if you're just joining us, is Make It Make Sense, Jackson. I'm your host, Tariq Abdul-Tawwab. This is my co-host, Keandon Perry, a.k.a. KP, a.k.a. Young Man. We're talking about our current administration and the moves they're making and how they affect the overall city. And thankfully, I'm speaking to a bunch of intelligent people, so we can kind of step over a lot of the aghast and, oh, I didn't know, right? A lot of folks from a business perspective fully understand what's happening here in Jackson. Now, you knew what your peer was doing or what your, what your old classmate was doing. You just obviously felt that there was no way to stop that. But now we're sitting in a position where we watched Senator Horn prior to becoming mayor. And the exact name of the article, and I studied it well before now, was "They're Hollowing Out Jackson." That was Senator Horn's comment. And he was talking about the Republican far-right GOP's attempt to continuously, and this is when Mayor Chokwe Lumumba was in, the GOP's attempt to continuously try to take over Jackson. So his response was, "They're hollowing out Jackson." When all the mayors met together, all the people running for mayor of Jackson met together, they made an agreement, if you all remember. And they said, we will all agree that we will fight to return Jackson's water system to Jackson if we become mayor, whichever one of us become mayor. So you had these agreements made. Then Mayor Horn went in office. Quick recap so you understand how we got here and then what we have to do about it. As soon as he got in office, he immediately went into the newspaper trying to sell Jackson like a $2 whore. Immediately. He went into the newspaper. Let me give you the title if you're offended by the way I categorize that, right? You should be more offended by your city getting sold away. But if you are offended by the way I categorize that, to repeat that, as soon as Mayor Horn got into office, he began to advertise to sell off Jackson like a $2 whore. The first article that came into the paper was Mayor Horn touts a public-private partnership for the water. So immediately he switched from, I will return the water to the ownership of Jackson, to as soon as you fickle and uneducated Negroes voted for him, he immediately switched, and this newspaper article was in August. Look at when he became mayor, July. He immediately switched and said, come on and buy some of this if you want some. No one wanted to go to halvesies because what he didn't understand, or what he was feigning not to understand, was that the Republican far right doesn't want half of our water system.
I want the whole thing.
They want the whole thing. So there were no takers at that point. No one raised their hand and said, I want half. I'll go half on it. Nobody wanted to go half on it. Trey Lamar and Shawty Yates said, we'll chill. We're good. We'll wait until we can find some way to get our grasp on the whole thing. Then the Water Authority bill came. Now, this is the difference between being handled and being led. And Jackson, you're going through it right now. You don't have to accept it. You know it. But, sometimes, especially for a man, it takes time to accept that you've been sunned, right? Because someone else has treated you like they're your daddy and handled you, and you got to live with it. But those of us that have been through it before, we understand you just got to rebuild yourself and pick yourself back up. I've been through it before. I've been tricked. I followed trails I shouldn't have gone down as a man, right? We've got to first start there, be accountable. Now, next, once we're accountable that we were tricked back in June, July, right? Into either staying home from the vote and not understanding that this city was up for sale. Now we've got to look at how we got there. So after that happened, the next thing you saw was your mayor come and say, Mayor Gibbs screwed up. The whole bunch that came to you and said, this water authority deal is the best deal we can take. I didn't even know we were at the last step with our water. Because just 2 months ago, you were swearing that we were going to return the water to Jackson. Now, 2 months later, we're in such it's crackhead moves. And this is how I say it. If you're from our community, some things you understand better than others. Please don't take it as a target. Take it as an understanding of what we're seeing happen. So a crackhead is going to tell you today, I wouldn't sell your sofa, your TV, auntie for the world. Within 2 hours, he's offering it all up for $20, right? Gave it, right? So this is what we're looking at. We go from one day to, I'm going to bring it all back home. That's what your mayor said to you. That's what your city council said. To immediately, like, Gator, turn around. They gone? I give it to you for half. Give me half for it. Immediately in August, Mayor Horn's offering the public water system up for half. Then he's like, you know what? You don't want it for half? Just give me $20. So he says to the Water Authority, give me $20 for it. That was the initial time Mayor Horn, and this is the title. It's up here. Mayor Horn says, Water Authority bill, best option for Jackson. Within there, if you just want to Google it, Google, Mayor Horn says this deal will shift the $200 million debt we have. Okay. So that's when he's willing to sell it for $20, right? Because he's telling us letting a water authority take over is the best deal we have. Then next thing you know, the water authority meets in secret without John. Hey John, you wait outside. We're gonna go talk about this water authority deal we just made with you. So that's really what happened. Legislator told him to wait in the hallway. They went. He said they were fickle and uneducated. We didn't know he was fickle and uneducated. We taking it all. They came back in. They said, y'all don't even have the seats y'all thought you had, Jackson. We're gonna take a little more, right? You heard the city council start crying. Hey, this isn't what we dealt with. They said, oh, this isn't what you thought? Psst, wait in the hall. They came back and they took even more. So now Jackson has no majority over it, right? Now you saw yesterday, Jackson made.
He said he got tricked. I think
He got tricked.
you are the trick.
He got tricked. You know what? Some things are just, if you look at the definition, when a young man says things that are divine logically, and what a trick was someone that simply turned themselves over and over again for the highest bidder. And what you're seeing is Jackson being sold to the highest bidder. So before you get bothered with language such as you're acting like a trick, which is correct English language, be bothered that language such as they can be associated with prostitution can be associated with the decisions your leaders are making.
Exactly.
That's what should anger you. That anybody can say your leaders are putting your city out on the stroll like a $2 whore. Be more angry that it's an appropriate language than be angry at the language. So now after I done handled you and told you, baby, sit down, let me tell you, it's going to be all right. I'll be back tonight. I promise I'll be back in 2 hours. That's what they told, right? Now I told you that. Now we sit and we wait. You remember at City Hall, folks showed up with cardboard, written on cardboard, this is the best deal. Say yes to the Republicans, right? This is what our administration, our mayor's administration, Gibbs, Crudup, our whole city council sat there quietly when Ted Hennepin said, these Negroes just don't like to pay bills. They all sat there with their head down, right?
Mm-hmm.
They all sat there with their head down. This is what I say when I say folks have daddies. This is what you heard when you heard the brother Kamikaze say, it seems like these folks are at an all-time fear level with these white folks that are pushing against them.
Yeah.
This is what you see. I understand why somebody would say that. Go look at the City Hall video where Ted Hennepin said the problem is the people in Jackson have a culture of not paying their bill. And not one of your city council members said anything. Ward 7 coughed a little bit and said, now I can appreciate that. And I think he was about to try to stop him. I'm going to keep saying that because he said something. The rest of them sat there quietly, right? And all of your black representation sat there quietly. You got folks receiving 92 years old with 1 cent receiving bills for $3,000 and told, F you pay me. You got folks receiving $7,000 bills. You got folks losing their cars. We talk about the people getting the bills and they don't understand it. Thousands of homeowners. It done drifted into North Jackson. But you got the nerve to say the problem is, and you got $850 million sitting there for you to work with, right? We don't have, I paid a bill that I'm not going to say how much it was, but I don't have the ability to have access to a second car because of it. That's what I'll say. And I know that that wasn't right. And I know that that leak wasn't it, but you got to pay it or you have no water. Your wife, your children, they have no water. That is called hijacking. That's kidnapping almost, whatever you call it.
Handling.
Yeah. So now you're in a situation where the city council and the mayor who urged you to go for this water bill have written a letter yesterday. A letter. They've given away all your rights and now they're writing a letter. We're not happy with what we did. It can make sense, Jackson. We're not happy with the deal we made. It's like your little brother, but it's not funny because it's our lives at risk. It is funny, but it's not. No, it isn't.
Oh,
but it's our lives at risk,
well,
right?
that's what he was
But isn't
doing.
that like your little brother?
Yeah, it is.
You tell him I give me half a toaster, a piece of that toaster strudel, and I give you nothing. He tastes it. Then 2 minutes later, he's like, "But this isn't a fair deal." But he's 6 or 7. We got 70-year-old senators that have been in office for 30 years, and now you're mayor, and got you to vote for them by saying my relationships across the aisle. Now, was this what they were doing to you the whole 30 years? How many times did they say, give me $5, I'm going to give you some lunch tomorrow, and then give you the lunch? You find out they were taking your lunch through them 30 years in the Senate. Because this is what we say. Our city council, our mayor represents it. If this is the best deal you can get for me as my representation, you done wrote them a blank check with our water system, and now you're saying they tricked you with that blank check. Make it make sense. No, you
Why
tricked
would
yourself.
you throwing out canning if you feel like you got tricked? That's all I'm saying.
Oh, very good point.
That's all.
Very good point,
You like-
young man.
Come on, man. You ain't feel like you got
Man,
tricked.
no, that's not how I act around people to trick me. I'll be right. You're absolutely right. And a lot of the business
I'd
owners
have
and
been
folks
throwing it at
involved,
them, trying to knock them out.
a lot of the business owners and folks involved, he was in a lot of places. You know what? That's a very good point, young man. You can't even really be angry. He said he thought he and Hennepin were friends until he found out that Hennepin clearly wasn't speaking as if he was a friend of the people in that meeting. Right?
He thought they were friends.
They thought they were friends.
What made them friends? What deals were made and made y'all friends?
One only has to imagine they use the same network. They both love WLBT, and there's nothing illegal about that. And see, the beautiful thing is nothing illegal about it. We're gonna talk about it. They both Jackson Water and both maybe you know how you all on the same roster as this Def Jam. Y'all all on the same label, so we all stick together. What is it? That please tell me you're not playing with our future like this. This is the East versus the West. So yeah, we all on the same label, so we all gonna do the same thing. I represent this, you represent that, and meanwhile, our whole system's gone.
So they bad boy.
Yeah, they bad boy. WLBT is their handler. You see John like this, you know what I mean? You see what we call standing over him like this, like we hang together. Jackson will hang you. Jackson drips. And it just ends there. And listen, if you think that this is at a certain time, you have to use political satire. You have to use civil disobedience.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things in your your arsenal. Don't get mad because we have all of them. So if you're new to Make It Make Sense, Jackson, you'll understand that to clown a clown is to be sane. To treat a clown like there's something serious is to be insane. And so you may be acting insane. We're acting sane. We're laughing at the show. And then we're doing something to stop it from hurting the rest of you and us, because that's just what it's doing.
I mean, it's
They're on the same label. That's what it is. WLBT is a label, and they're on the same label. Super Talk Mississippi, they go on the same things. Jackson Jambalaya. Northside Sun. What's the other one? The Clarion Ledger.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you telling about what happened with Clarion Ledger?
Clarion Ledger is putting the articles up that only they have access. But I've been said this. So you had an article. What was the article? But no, we've been talked about it. So there was an article about the small homes project being shut down. You remember former mayor and the city, not just the mayor, came up collectively with a plan to build small homes. It was going to house about 60 families. And if you don't know, Jackson's domestic or how would you say this homegrown shelterless population is at about 300 folks that you may know, folks that grew up, went through hard times. It's about 300. So 60 houses is going to give you about maybe 100 families, maybe more, given the way our folks can live together, especially rather than be homeless. I'm gonna bring my niece and my nephew in, just to be honest. But 100 families, so that's 1/3 of the homeless population of Jackson would have been housed with that plan. So before you think about who you like, who you didn't like, understand that's what Mayor Horn, we expected nothing more after he shut down the skate park. As soon as he came in, we tell it like it is, do something better, and put it on the comment, we'll read it. But he came in, he immediately turned to Downtown Jackson partners and said, come on, let's do everything that we want to do. I'll be Curious George, and what's the guy name from Downtown Jackson partner? Jeff Good.
Jeff.
You be George, I'll be Curious, however that sit for. And then Downtown Jackson partner just began to parade this man out in front of you to show them the gains that they were getting, right? So we know that those type of gains are there, but there was a skate park plan for young people in Jackson that would include food truck areas, would include a pavilion, would have included somewhere for people to perform from Jackson, a way for us to actually benefit in a peaceful manner. That was shut down. The skate park was shut down. Nothing has been planned for these children. And then we found out that the homeless site, the 100 mini small homes, they canceled that and took that 2+ million, and they're handing it over to a called Churn
For the homeless.
Yeah. They took the money for the homeless that would have housed 1/3 of Jackson's native homeless population. Please understand. And this is why we say to you all that are close to Mr. Horn and to the rest of the good people of this city and this state that make changes and make moves, and you're good people and you truly believed that you just got to where you were getting and they just got to where they got with hard work. Make sure you're asking these questions. Hey, Mayor, why did you cancel a plan that would have taken care of 1/3 of the homeless population, the native homeless population in Jackson? And then you took that 2-point-something million and you're giving it to a firm that studies what to do with homelessness and helps people understand. So you took a plan that would have cured 1/3 of the homeless population that are native to Jackson, Mississippi. This is what you call being handled and not even taking your own. And you scrapped that plan to give that 2+ million to an organization that advises people what to do with it. I'll post it. I believe what was the church Churn? It started with a CH. Crunch, thank you. So the firm was named Clutch, CLUTCH. And they also, ironically, have also received contracts in other Black areas like Atlanta and Houston, other areas where they've also come in and helped deal with the homeless population.
Quotation mark.
Yeah, where's the homeless population in Atlanta? Where will they move to? This is what you look up when your mayor, your Black African-American mayor, shuts down housing secured. They were just ready to go for 1/3 of your native homeless population, and instead gives that money to Clutch, an organization that's going to look at it and then tell you how to do it. And it's going to cost more money, young man, once he tells you how to do it, because you're paying them the money we had to do with the plan.
I was trying to look up the owner of the Clutch. It says it's Mandy Chapel Mandy Chapman Simple.
Mandy Chapman Simple.
Yes, it's a
You see that right there? And I hope
Okay.
y'all are doing the same thing.
Caucasian lady.
Yeah, I hope y'all are doing the same thing that the young man does. And if you didn't, it's okay. You can start it now. When someone says they're bringing someone into your community, look at who they are. She's the managing partner, co-partner of Clutch Consulting Group. She founded it about 2018. She works with cities on homelessness systems, housing strategy, and public-private projects. Whoo, all the federal money's going. Okay. So, yeah, she was, okay, so here's her background. She was former special assistant to the mayor of Houston. She now travels city to city advising governments and organizations. She's a national level consultant with direct government experience, and she now helps cities restructure housing and homelessness systems. So that's where your money has gone. You had a plan that the previous administration and the community came up with. They figured it all out. People in Jackson are not as stupid as you think. I know you usually need someone else because heaven forbid someone in Jackson came up with a plan, right?
Right.
But there was a plan and it was a great plan. We're going to build these mini houses. We're going to cut the native homeless population by 1/3. We're moving forward. Mayor Horn and the city council said, no progress for you. Instead, we've got a better idea. Let's take that money and let's give it to someone that may think of a better plan, may not.
Every time he gets some money in his hand, he give it to the wrong people. Y'all not see the pattern yet? He has the money, then he throws it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Gator.
So what they do, Gator, that should be it. That should be it right there. That should be Gator, right? And so I'm looking at what she does and what they do, and what their model is they move people directly into housing. Remember when I said the funds, federal funds? This is what I take you. Mississippi Shuffle's coming up. We need a little sound when that shuffle starts coming up, right?
Yeah.
So first thing I do is I take your money, and then I use your money to work for you, or I use you to work and I make money off it. So what they do is Clutch moves people directly into housing, apartments or units. They then wrap services around them from the federal government, mental health, addiction, job support. They then focus on clearing the encampment quickly. I want you to tell me, go and look up
They focus on what?
clearing the encampment or the areas where the shelters people previously lived quickly. Now I want you to go look up the tiny housing plan. And please tell me what was different with, we're going to catch them with their pants down. You're going to let them do it. If you like it, I love it. This is what you call handling. He going to take the $2 million and just pocket it at this point. So tell me what's different with the little house plan that was already there, that you had the money for. He said, we're going to move people directly into housing, apartments or units. So what they said was, y'all trying to build houses that don't take away from mothers that have been on the wait list for 6 months trying to get into an apartment unit. So what they want to do is they want to take the people that are shelterless, men, women, and they want to push them above those people. Because how else you going to get them in there all of a sudden?
Yeah.
How else you going to get them into housing all of a sudden unless you push them past people that were children that have been sitting up there waiting homeless trying to get into a place? So you go against the old mayor and them plan. Say, we don't want to take 2.9 million and build these houses that won't hurt any people in the city already on the housing list. Instead, let's just take these homeless people and stick them above your people. Stick them in the housing real quick, get them services, then guess what that means? That means we take that 2.9 million you was going to go ahead and build them houses with, we put it in our pockets, and by the time this fails, because them people, their mental illness is affecting them, they can't pay the bills because they ain't got jobs for the little amount they're about to pay, violence breaks out, we gone in the wind to another city. I mean, if you look at it, they've been in Houston, Dallas, New Orleans, St. Louis, Chicago. These places all seem a little black to you. They've been to all these places, and they get out of it. So we went from a plan to move people directly into housing with 2.9 million to pay someone to figure out how to move people directly into housing.
Not to mention, it was going to be a 24/7 security provided for the housing. So they was going to be protected.
They were going to be protected, and you were going to be protected, right? But no. Instead, let's pay someone 2.9 million to move people into public housing and then wrap public services around them and then focus on clearing them encampments out. So that means that we're creating new homeless people. And I hope as we wind this, we've got to land this because we started a little late. And you can jump on our page, Make It Make Sense, Jackson, JXN, if you want to hear a little more, right? Because we've got much more on there, and we'll jump on again if we need to. But please understand, when you move people that are now on the brink of homelessness down the list and push people that are already homeless ahead of them, all you're doing is swapping places. This is what your mayor and your city council think you're too stupid to grasp. This is the definition of what do you say? People are fickle and uneducated.
Yeah.
Take a plan that did this and pay somebody, and then when they pay them and they say this is what you do, who's going to pay to implement that plan? You. Your tax-paying dollars.
Yep.
Make it make sense, James. We're going to talk more. Go to our page if you want to see Chief Willie Horns. Chief Willie Horns. I'm talking about two people together. Chief Willie Owens interview where he goes deep into the fact that you're not safe right now. That's why the young man said get a fire detector. You're not safe right now. That's why you should be aware of whether the fire station in your area is open or closed. You're not safe right now. You should be familiar at least with how many personnel should be on ladder trucks and big apparatuses. So if you're driving through your community and you see one person on a ladder truck, you know to say, hey, Chief, for sure. Hey, something going on here. My family lives here. Go and put another 3 people on that truck.
Hold them accountable.
You've got to hold them accountable. But please end this with understanding. Go look at the fact that your mayor and your city council recently canceled the small homes for the homeless community and are now paying that $2.9 million, I'm sure, to an agency called Clutch to figure out how to do what the small homes were already doing. That's when you can't say people are pissing down your back and telling you it's raining. They're pissing down your face. It's up to you to open your mouth. And that didn't come out right. But it's up to you to stop that. I didn't mean that, I promise. It's up to you to stop that. All right? But I'm being dead serious. It's up to you to stop that. So you got the plan one more time. We got 2 minutes as we land this. The plan was to move people directly into housing that were going to be built with the $2.9 million they already had with the mini housing. Once they built them, the city already had a plan to help them with the different services, mental and otherwise, they needed. And then the city was going to then use the cleanup as a way to go ahead and beautify the city. Your mayor and city council said, cancel that. We're going to go ahead and we're going to find out a way to push them above people that are almost homeless into HUD and into public housing, create a new homeless class, have no plan to help that homeless class because we got no home built for them. And once we clean up the encampments we said we're going to clean up, guess what? They're probably going to come right back because you got a new homeless class. Make it make sense, Jackson. That's what your mayor, your city council, and his administration told.
So there's more money involved now.
There's more money for them, less services for Jackson. The old Mississippi Shuffle right here at home.
There it is.
Jump on our page if you want to see the interviews from yesterday. We'll be right back here tomorrow. We Believe Digital, same time, same place. You get us 5 days a week now, so don't try to sneak up on us. And tomorrow we're going to talk about small men and the fact that as men, it's our job to call out small men who allow their egos and the trauma they went through growing up to allow them to lead their people into dungeons, to oppress the staff under them.
Yeah.
We got some discussion about Piney Woods. We got some discussion about the city. And we got some discussion about Tulu and JSU and about the leadership of weak men that cause people under them to be hurt severely. So you don't want to miss this tomorrow, 5:30, same time, same place. For my co-host,
Keanu Berry.
myself, Tarek Abdul-Tawwab, continue to make it make sense, Jackson. We love you. We out.
My mama lied. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed.